Y'all ain't gonna like what I gotta say tonight. Y'all ain't gonna like it. I already know the comments probably gonna be tore. Y'all are not going to like what I have to say tonight, but baby, it's late. I got the bonnet on. I had to record right after the episode because I need to get these thoughts out right here, right now. I need them to be fresh off the presses, but y'all are not going to like what I have to say. I was not feeling the OG girls at all tonight. I do not like behavior where people gang up on one person. And I really don't like when people want to gang up on people, hold resentment, hold anger, and then wait till the right time to unleash it. When the whole time you could have spoken up. Let's jump into the episode. We gonna do the formalities. We gonna go through the whole episode. But boy, oh boy, this game has the villa shaken up, torn up. All of these people are a mess.
I have been so motherfucking real with Taylor, and I cannot express how fucking angry I've been.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex, and I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there, and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you so much again to every single person that has subscribed to the channel, commented on the videos, left kind comments, left your opinions, left your disagreements, left however you feel. It has been a really good season of Love Island. It's been great to hear the different opinions, even to have the discourse. I like a little healthy discourse in my life, okay? I know y'all don't really know me like that, but I like a little healthy discourse in my life, so it has been quite interesting to read some of your comments, read some of your takes, and for those of y'all who have actually been able to handle it when I comment back and not think, oh my God, I'm being rude to you, for those of you who are actually willing to engage in the back and forth healthily, it's been very nice to either be able to, hey, we agree to disagree, or sometimes I think on both sides, we might open our minds to different viewpoints. I think it has been amazing. And I just want to thank you guys because it's been great. It's been absolutely great this season of Love Island. I don't want to talk too much, so we are going to get into this episode, season 7, episode 26. And baby, people was talking about the Twitter challenge, but this right here was better than the Twitter challenge. Let's jump into it. So we start off with some small conversations right before bedtime. Nick and Sierra, they're still riding the high of clocking things off.
I'm good, darling. How are you?
I'm so good. Oh,
I'm coming off a high from today. We got to one workout.
They're so happy to be with one another, yada, 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 not much there. Now, Brian does pull Jaden. He says that from the minute he saw Jaden, she did catch his eye. And Jaden essentially says, look, for me, I didn't think I was open. I thought things were going pretty well with Austin, but if Brian is open, I am open to bite. And I was like, okay, Jaden, is Brian outside? Alrighty. Nick and Huda.
do is learn from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know, like, I really am here for you.
So Nick pulls Huda aside for a conversation, and basically he's like, I just want to hear your side of everything that has went on. Pay attention to the fact that Nick did this, because boy, oh boy, if one thing about Nick is that Nick is fake. Nick is so fake and so diabolical. Keep this in mind. So Huda essentially says, look, for me, I was just going off of what they always say, that it's just a competition, it's just a game. That's what everyone has always told me the entire time. So for me, I never looked at it as going for A's. I was literally just trying to play in the competition. And I'm going to keep it real with you at this point. Yes. A lot of y'all said on my last video, and I do agree with you here, that yes, of course, if Shelly wants time, she does not have to talk to Huda. She doesn't have to engage with Huda. I do get it. Again, I don't think that anyone owes Huda or owes anyone a friendship. But the reality of the situation is that again, what I saw in Shelly is not that she needs time because she's upset, but she's gonna come around. What I see in Shelly is someone who's like, I haven't liked this girl from the beginning. I haven't liked this girl since all the mess that happened, but I've been holding my tongue and waiting to unleash it now. And to me, I think that is childish behavior. I think it's very childish on behalf of all of the girls, because if you were not feeling Huda, there was no real reason you had to keep her here. Seriously. There was literally no reason that you had to keep her here. At the time that they kept her here, she did not have a connection like that. She and Jeremiah were already on the downward spiral. So if they're going off of their own made up Love Island rules, then they could have taken her out because she had a connection and it didn't work out. Anyways, Nick says, hey, look, at this point, I think that you need to just kind of give some space. And to be honest, I will always be here for you. I think that you did take it a little bit too far, but I'm always going to be here for you. I always care about you. They hug it out. They say, love you, Nicky Poo. And I'm like, Nick, why does Nick always do this? Why does Nick always pull Huda aside just to stab her in the back? On to bedtime. So bedtime notes, Brian is letting the guys know that he is full steam ahead on Jaden and he does definitely want to pull her. Iris and TJ, they decide that they are going to sleep in soul ties. Chris starts to talk about how Amaya snores and they just kind of bust her balls about snoring. And last but not least, Nick and Sierra, once again, they are clapping cheeks. And I'm like, oh my God. So this is just going to be an every night thing for y'all? Okay, on to the morning time. The morning rolls around and Ace makes breakfast for Shelly. He brings in flowers. Again, Ace is trying to do these gestures, I guess, to show that he's the man. I don't really know. And Zach actually makes breakfast for Olandria and Amaya. So Amaya awkwardly pulls Zach for a chat.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, Zach, sorry to interrupt. Are you down to talk to me over there?
Yeah, sure.
She's like, Zach, do you mind maybe coming over to talk to me over there? I'm like, why couldn't she just say it? Even Ian made a little joke in the voiceover. I was like, that is so funny. But Amaya essentially is like, look, I understand that you wanted your space yesterday. I understand that you didn't really feel like talking to anybody, but it does hurt feeling like the entire time we're paired up and you're not even trying.
I don't get where I'm coming from.
No, I get
Do you think it's jealousy? Because it's not about me being jealous whatsoever.
No, it's nothing. It's jealousy. I just feel like,
And I'm going to keep it real with you. Zach, to me, gives very disingenuous. When I was taking them 10 polls earlier and I was ranking all the people, I was like, Zach, to me, does not feel genuine. It does not feel like there is a connection here for Zach, and I feel like he knows that. Because miss me with it that you think there could be something there with Alandrea. Zach, stop. I don't feel like Zach sees anything in this villa, or at least anything that he feels is accessible right now for him in this villa. So Zach starts to try to say that he didn't really talk to anybody. Amaya then at this point starts to go off. And I'm like, this is Amaya. This is where you be doing a little too much, sis. Because she's like, do you think I'm jealous? Do you think I'm trying to smother you? Do you think I'm doing this? And she's just talking. And Zach is like, whoa, like, I don't know. I mean, if you want to talk to me, you could come talk to me. Amaya's main point is that she doesn't feel like she wants to always be the one to have to pull Zach for chats. She wants to feel like he is making he's making an effort and not just all on her. And I respect that. Amaya's personality is a lot. And I think one of the things that Amaya is frustrated with in the villa is that no one is honest with her about it. We didn't see Austin be honest about it. All he really did was recouple. We didn't see Ace was the only one that was willing to be like, this is too much for me. All the hands in the face and things like that. And even still, he was a little sly with it, but at least he was more real. No one else in the villa is really honest with Amaya. So I feel like for her kind of letting it out on Zach, of course, is not right. That's not how you talk to people. But I think Amaya's just at a point where she's like, why is it with every single person that this keeps happening? So at the end of this conversation, Zach tries to claim that he's in between Amaya and Alandrea. And for him, he did think that things were going the right direction, but he felt like certain things happened with their communication that made him want to put the walls up. And again, Zach, then be real. Be real, be honest. It's giving, I just wanted to get into the villa. That, to me with Zach, it's giving, I just want to get into the villa. So Amaya gets emotional. She does start crying and Amaya gets quite emotional. But again, there's something in me that also kind of feels bad for Amaya because I just feel like every single person in here has sort of looked at her in a certain way. And I think it's very hard when it's the person you are. Do I deny that Amaya's personality is a larger than life personality? It is. But I do think that that doesn't necessarily warrant the way that it feels like a lot of people have used Amaya as a stepping stone. Let's keep it real. Austin used Amaya as a stepping stone until someone came in that he liked. And now it kind of feels like Zach is doing that. And Ace also did that. So I think 3 guys in a row using you as a stepping stone like that will cause that feeling. Even if, yes, Amaya should let people talk. She should let Zach get a sentence out. She should not just and then get emotional. So I want to acknowledge that, yes, Amaya does need to work on some of those communication skills. So Brian and Chris, they fill each other in on what's going on. Brian fills in Chris, or Chris fills in Brian, let me say it that way, about the fact that he did kiss Huda in Soul Ties. And although he's still interested in Shelly, he definitely is very interested in continuing to see where things go with Huda. For Brian, he says he definitely wants to pull Jade in again. He reiterates that at this point, the conversations with Alandrea are just getting very stale and he's not really feeling it. And this is another pairing where, let's be for real, y'all both have feelings towards each other or lack thereof, so maybe you should talk about it. But I just don't care about those 2 enough to even go on about it. Huda, Olandria, and who was the other person in it? Andreina. She was the other person in the conversation. They're talking, and Huda's like, I have to tell you guys a secret. I have to tell you a secret. And you can just tell Olandria is not feeling it. And I don't know, to me, that's the annoying part. But it's like, you don't like the girl. You clearly don't want to talk to her. You've made your allegiance clear that your allegiance is with Shelly. So why? Why are we doing this? But anyways, Huda basically tells them that she did kiss Chris in the speakeasy last night and that she is interested in going for that connection. Alandrea is essentially just kind of like, oh, well, go for it, girl. I mean, if you like that, go for it. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not feeling the vibe. The girls is not girling. The friendships is not friendshipping the way that I need it to. But again, I always keep coming back to, why did you keep her here? But then I don't know, because she's one of the only people now who's about to have a semi-real connection. Anyway, the Casa girls are talking, and Clark is talking about how she's very happy with her connection with Taylor, but really it's unclear if others are. And when she says others, she's definitely implying Alandrea. She says that it feels some type of way, though, that Taylor says he's still exploring. Meanwhile, Alandrea and Shelly are having a conversation, and Alandrea is talking about Zach because she's exploring Zach. She says that for her, when it comes to Zach, he doesn't really do the little things like helping her up the stairs or things like that. And that's why she really likes a Southern guy. That's why she's really into a Southern gentleman, because they always know what to do for a woman. They always know how to help a woman, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Alandrea, please. I just cannot hear anymore about how you're Southern cowboy, because the person you're talking about is Taylor, and Taylor has not. Taylor didn't do any of that stuff for you. Okay. Anyway, Alandrea proceeds to say in this conversation that Taylor is still her strongest connection. And I'm like, Alandrea, you guys don't have a connection right now. And again, I'm going to put a little bit on Taylor because I do feel like he has so awkwardly left the door open when they have conversations. But at this point, the discernment should kick in. Look at the way he treats her versus the way he treats you. Come on. At some point or another, we as women have to take accountability for continuing to delude ourselves with men. We've all been there. A lot of us have been there. But at some point, Alandrea, how in the world can you even say that Taylor is your strongest connection? Girl, you don't have connections in the villa right now. None. Zero. So the Villa boys are talking, and they are talking about how, for Taylor, Clark brought out the soft boy era in him. It's a whole new energy that he hasn't seen, but he's still not sure how to navigate the Alandrea situation. The way you navigated Taylor is by being honest and saying that you're not feeling it with her and closing that door. At the end of the day, I'm not mad at Taylor and Clark. I already said it. I am not mad at them. I am mad at the fact that for some reason Taylor still wants to leave the door a little bit ajar. You know, he really wants to leave it slightly open for some reason, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's a safety mechanism. I don't know if he feels like he might need that connection as a backup. I don't know what it is, but he wants to keep leaving it open even though he is done. My thing is, just admit that it's not there anymore. That's all. So Grayson and Iris. Grayson is basically telling Iris that she really does like Pepe, but she feels like Pepe is a little pulled back. Meanwhile, Pepe is talking to Taylor, and I forgot who else was there, and he's saying, I'm not really feeling it for Grayson like that. I don't really know how to tell her though. For me, I feel like Hannah is always in the back of my head. So at this point, I don't really want to continue to lead her down the wrong direction. And again, we have so many people in this villa who are just in connection simply so they don't leave. So many people. This is like the third couple where it's like, I'm not feeling anything, but I'm in a connection with them, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and not say anything for right now. Okay. So all of the Islanders get a text that they are going to be playing Stand on Business tonight, and they learn that they are going to be getting these postcards, and they can write whatever they want about their fellow Islanders, and they can either sign their name or leave it anonymous. So we get a montage of everyone writing their little postcards, debating who they're going to write to, what they're going to say. But we flash on over to the nighttime, and it is time to get into this game. And boy, oh boy, did this game shake up this villa. Okay, so let's get into it. If you see me looking here, I want to make sure I get all my notes. So the first person is Austin. His is from Anonymous, but it says, I don't know how you made it this far. You don't give any girl any effort, and you're here to just have a fun time. This is from Anonymous. So Andrea actually admits that it is her. Austin's explanation is that he personally agrees about him being here. He says, I don't really know how I'm here either. I'm not going to lie. But I feel like I've given a great effort and great conversation to every single girl that I've been with, and I have tried my best. Okay, Austin, I feel like I vividly remember you sulking all day, every day about Shelly. And I vividly remember you saying you weren't even into Amaya like that because the personality was not working day one. And you told everyone else, but okay. So for Andrea, she says, look, I feel like you were not putting the effort in to win Shelly when you were in that Ace and Shelly triangle. I was like, okay, Andrea, you know dang well that that wasn't a real one. Next up, we are on to Sierra.
I thought they had both been dealt an unfair hand, whereas someone like Hannah at that time had the chance to explore too.
So this first one is to Nick and Sierra. It says, do you not know how loud you are in the bedroom? Or do you know how not quiet you are in the bedroom? She says that she tries to be respectful. I'm like, oh, I'd be so mad. I would be so mad if every night all I'm hearing is and moaning. I would be so irritated. But anyway, so this one is to Shelly, Olandria, and Sierra, and it says, I don't understand why you sent home Hannah. She was the only girl to explore an unsafe connection. Pepe admits that it was from him, and I was like, ooh. But I want some answers, though. I want some answers on that one. So Sierra says, look, I felt like Iris had something with TJ, and Amaya really had no chance to explore anything. So at that point, Hannah had two strong connections, and again, they go back into this same thing about how she basically got to experience the whole thing, so she needed to leave. And again, I always ask, what is y'all talking about? Is the point of the show to not find a connection and stick with it? I am very confused. Again, they have made their own rules to play Love Island this season, but then don't even follow these rules. So she keeps on going and says, well, Pepe, you were also adamant about exploring, but you had tunnel vision when Hannah was here. Look at you now, sitting next to Grayson. That would have never happened had Hannah been here. And I'm like, what? So now you guys, you three, apparently, or maybe you, Sierra, at least, feel like you are in charge of who people choose to explore with? You are in charge of what the limit is of when people get to explore? I was like, Sierra, you was out your rabbit A mind, girl. You are. I'm so sorry, but what are you talking about? Who are you to tell Pepe, oh, you know what? Your time was up with Hannah. You needed to explore more. And it's crazy because the people that keep saying that they want people to explore are the first people to be mad whenever their partner got something else going on or their connection has something going on. So the girls claim, Shelly and Olandria, they also chime in and they claim that they just didn't want to go off of strong connections. I was like, if I was Pepe, I'd be so damn irritated. So next up we have Amaya.
Trying to move too fast for everyone.
That's fucked.
And look at the bitch crying again.
Don't cry, baby girl. You look too beautiful.
Amaya gets a funny one. It says Amaya swears she doesn't snore, but she does. It's from Anonymous. It's obviously from Chris. We saw the little scene earlier. So she gets another one from an Anonymous. You cry too much and you move too fast with everyone. She starts crying and she's basically like, God forbid you're a sensible gangster. God forbid you're emotional. Basically saying, oh my God, how dare I not be emotional? And again, I ain't gonna hold you. Do I think that people have sort of started to gang up on the fact that Amaya is emotional? I do. But I also think Amaya is a little bit emotional. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. But for her, she talks about how after everything she went through in her life, she really sees it as a superpower to be able to be emotional, but also hold herself together. So Austin admits that he was the one that actually made that message. And he claims that when they got together, it was way too intense, way too quickly. So of course that makes Amaya upset. And you know what? I'm not mad at it because the reality is that you didn't say anything, Austin. We vividly remember Amaya asking you, do you have an issue? Do you have a problem with me? Am I doing too much? Do I need to hold back? What did you do, Austin? Lie. Anyway, Ace chimes in and he was like, yeah, when you were saying babe, 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 babe all the time, it was way too much. And I felt like you needed to meet me where I was at. Yeah, that's the way you talk. But at the end of the day, you have to meet people 50% and also do what they feel comfortable with. So at this point, Brian speaks up and he says, look, I'm gonna be honest, coming from a Hispanic household as well, saying, mi vida, mi amor, you know, whatever, babe, all of that is extremely common. So Zach is like, look, I allowed you to be intense. I allowed you to be passionate. I allowed you to do everything. Basically, every single guy in this house starts to speak up on Amaya. And I was like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. All of y'all is a bunch of fake MFs. I'm gonna keep it real. All of y'all is fake as F because every single guy starts to dogpile onto Amaya about her personality, about how she is. But yet, a lot of y'all that are piling on have went for her. And whether it was to use her or whether you were being honest, you chose to pair up with her. And now all of y'all got problems with her? It just doesn't make any sense. It was like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I need to take a step back, though, because of the intensity of your personality. And Amaya says at this point, you know what? Why do you have to do this in front of everybody? I actually had a conversation with you earlier, and you chose not to say anything. So at this point, Amaya's like, stop talking to me. Like, leave me alone. And I agree. Because Amaya and Zach literally had a conversation. Now, I will give this. I will give this caveat. When Amaya and Zach had that conversation earlier, Amaya didn't let him talk. She did cut him off quite a few times. She did not let him talk. So I do have to, in fairness, admit that that was the case. And maybe this is the case where Zach felt it. But again, Zach, we could tell that you weren't feeling her for a minute now. And until she pulled you, you were not going to say anything. So at this point, Amaya storms away. Sierra stands up and is like, don't let him. You know, he's a clown. He's a goofy, basically. Don't let him make you feel like you're less than. Don't let him this. Don't let him that. Child, I'm tired of Sierra. I'm sorry. I know I said I liked Sierra, but this episode made me realize I don't really like Sierra. I feel like she be doing entirely too much. Sierra be acting like Nick. Okay, they're both the voice of their friend groups, and all they be doing is talking, and it's a little bit too much for me personally. I'm gonna keep it a stack. So next we get on to Pepe. So Pepe says, ever since Hannah left the villa, you have been playing it safe. You know, you don't even like Grayson, basically. He says that he tried to explore in Casa, but getting something that he really enjoyed with Hannah ripped out of his feet has been very, very difficult for him. He knows that in general, she is here to find love, and she does feel that it is possible for Grayson. But at this point, she just wants him to be upfront, which again, this is the thing. We have so many people that are just simply not feeling the people they're with at all. It's ridiculous. But let's go on to Ace.
Love bombing thing where I've seen that since day one. Just because I have the balls to say that shit doesn't mean, oh, Ace is a hater.
I mean, that's because I wasn't really decided. Right. You know, I speak to you guys
but
on
it's
emotion.
pretty clear. It's pretty clear how you tell us how you feel about it.
So Ace, his first one says, if you and Shelly are so strong, why haven't you closed off yet? Amaya admits this was her. Ace claims, look, Shelly really wanted to explore new connections. So at this point, I'm not going to force her to close off. So Austin says, everyone follows your lead, Ace. The Ace posse does every single thing you say. When Jeremiah was here, it was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. And I was like, you know what? I can't even lie to you. I can't even lie to you. Well, I can't believe y'all got me out here saying that Austin was standing on business, but he was. I'm so sorry. But those two little minions, all they do is run around this villa and be Ace's mouthpiece. Kind of like Sierra has now become for the other two girls. So he's like, okay, Austin, before I answer that, let me ask you guys something. Andreina, do you feel like Jeremiah came onto you really strongly? She's like, yeah. Austin goes into explaining. He's like, well, I just feel like you have a very strong personality and it's very clear that you influence a lot of people. So at this point, he's like, okay, so Andreina here just admitted that she feels like Jeremiah came in. So that's the love bombing stuff. He's like, just because I was willing to say something about the love bombing stuff does not mean that I'm a hater. Yes, it does, Ace. Yes, it actually does. Because the reality is, it does not make sense why you had such a strong vendetta. And you know what does make sense? The fact that you were jealous of that man. Every girl that you wanted, he was able to bag. Anyway, Ace brings up, look, you didn't speak your feelings about Amaya though, Austin. You didn't say anything about how you felt. You would come over to the guys and tell us, oh my God, I'm not really feeling her. But then go over to her and it's a completely different story. So Austin says, okay, but I told you guys that there was always a side that I loved about Amaya. So that's not really true. And I'm like, Austin, this is what Ace does. Is he acts diabolical, he acts angry, but then he'll throw in a correct point. And that's how he always be roping people back in, because that is fair and that is true. Let's not even play games, Austin. Amaya gave you an open invitation to let her know that she was doing too much. And what did you do? You lied. Let's not forget that you literally lied. So Amaya now starts to chime in as well. And she's like, oh my God, you know, I just feel like you didn't really say anything to me. Austin gets sassy and he's like, this is not your conversation, Amaya. This is not your conversation. And she's like, okay, but it's about me. He's like, do you not get what air out all of your issues means? And I was like, oh, hell no, Austin. This whole season, I haven't given Austin not an ounce of smoke. I haven't said nothing about him. Yeah, I'll be swearing I got vendettas in the comments about Austin. I don't talk about Austin because he's boring. But baby, when he had that bass in his voice when he was talking to Amaya, I was like, you better sit down, Mr. Dump supporter, because we done kept you in here for way longer than you needed. But you ain't about to go off on Amaya like that. So Ace chimes back in again and says as well, all you did was talk negative about Amaya. Let's be for real. You're claiming that there was a side that you loved. All you mostly did was talk negative. And I was like, ooh, child. Ooh, child. So Amaya's like, don't you be disrespectful to me. Don't you talk to me like that, because you didn't say any of this to me. They go back and forth for a little while, but I was like, Austin, you better watch it. Because baby, the audience done gave you a lot of chances this season. And baby, even outside of his whatever he got going on outside, Austin, you boring. You don't bring nothing to this villa. Ooh, I didn't like that. I really did not like that at all. Next up, we have Shelly.
I thought in general it's just a challenge. It was not respected, and I feel like too many times I give you a lot of grace for stuff. So I'm trying to hear you out right now, but I really don't. And it's just like right now.
So her first one says, I don't understand why you want boundaries set for us during challenges, but you still want to explore. Obviously, this is from Ace. She says he was the one that initiated wanting boundaries or exploring, in the first place. Ace says, well, it's not about wanting to explore. It's about the boundaries that you want to put on me. You want to put boundaries on me during challenges, but you want to still be able to explore your other connection. And I feel like someone said it really well in the comments where it feels like Shelly and Ace are arguing about congruent issues. Like they're not arguing about the same issue. They are arguing about two different side-by-side issues, but arguing about slightly different things. Because I feel like Shelly is more so arguing that she feels like Ace has been going round and around and around and around, but then coming at her for having another connection. Whereas Ace is definitely arguing the fact that he feels like they were going to be closer to being locked in, or he's feeling threatened and or jealous by Chris because he thought that he had it in the bag to get Shelly, and he's realizing, oh no, she didn't do that. And he's mad salty that he sent home Coco, someone that he really liked, thinking, oh, my plan has been concocted perfectly. That's what he's upset about. So Sierra now chimes in, and honestly, Sierra was doing too much. Like I said, Sierra, keep it down. I'm so sorry, but keep it down. Sierra claims that Shelly wanted to implement boundaries because she believes in this connection so much. And that's the reason why she was so pressed to implement boundaries. I'm like, oh, really, Sierra? Okay. So Ace is like, why is it that I have to dial it back when she is the one that's exploring? Again, okay. So this one is to Shelly and Chris. And it says, why haven't you had a conversation since Casa? It seems very avoidant. I believe Brian said he wrote this. Shelly claims that she does not want to waste her time when he doesn't even look at her. At this point, it's not giving that he was interested. And I'm like, Shelly, but you also avoided him. We did not see you talk to him at all. He brought you breakfast and everything, and you couldn't even go over and thank him for the breakfast. I don't even think we saw Shelly thank Chris for that plate of pancakes with the flour. So let's not play games like you also haven't fully been on and running around Ace this whole time. I'm just keeping it honest with you. So she gets another one. Shelly says, do you remember saying it's just a challenge? Me and Ace are still open. Shelly's like, I want whoever said this to clarify before I talk on it. So Huda says it's her. And she's like, well, I feel like you were the #1 person always telling me during competitions when it came to Jeremiah that it's just a challenge. It's just a challenge. We're all open. Everybody's all open. So Huda claims that Shelly claims that the only time that she actually said it's just a challenge, we're all open, is when Huda was tweaking on new bombshells that we're not aware of she and Jeremiah's connection. Now, that might be true. That might be true. But again, okay. Shelly claims that, once again, she is trying to get over this. She's trying to hear Huda out. She wants to hear her, but she genuinely cannot get over it. So Huda tries apologizing again to Shelly. She says, hey, I wasn't thinking of what I was doing. I wasn't acting right. I only thought about myself. And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Huda. I feel like you're apologizing a little too much because Shelly's forcing it. I'm sorry, she's forcing it. It's entirely too much. Those three, Olandria, Shelly, Sierra, I'm so sorry. Y'all wanted Huda here so bad, and now you're ganging up and playing mean girls upset because she's doing what she does. And the reality is that y'all knew that you didn't like the girl, but you were waiting for the right time to be on your mean girl-ish. I don't like that. I don't like mean girls. And please do not get it twisted, because I don't like Huda. And I still feel like Huda is annoying and she does a lot. But I don't like the fact that these girls, you all clearly did not like her from the start, which I clocked. And that's why I was so confused about the reason that you kept her here. But at this point, it's like you're forcing it on everything. Let it go. It was a game. She does not want Ace. She doesn't. And at the end of the day, it is facts, and it is true, Shelly, that you also were, quote unquote, exploring. Whether or not you want to admit that, you were still up on Chris as well. Child. Oh my God. So next up, we get to Huda.
Care about their connection. Do I need to tell the whole class that I told my girls that I trusted?
That's nobody's business. You know
I'm
what I
just
mean?
saying, she keeps saying,
Her first message says to Huda, I feel like Hannah was robbed of her experience twice. You should have been dumped from the villa. This is from Nick. Remember earlier in this episode, Nick tells her, I'm always here for you, love you, and then does this. And then Nick's explanation is, well, I did try to vote you off twice, so I did tell you that I didn't really want you here like that. And I felt like when it came to Charlie and Hannah, they should have had a more of a chance. Nick, you are the fakest MFL here. So this is from Anonymous. Do you feel like you've been following girl code when it comes to Chris and Shelly's relationship? Are you really a girl's girl? From Anon. She says it is Love Island and she does not owe anyone anything, especially if they are not closed off. Now, Huda, I know I've been on your side for a little bit and ordinarily I do agree with that phrase. But you and Jeremiah were not officially closed off either. And I know people keep saying they were, they just didn't say it. Okay, they didn't say it. When in Love Island history do we ever call people closed off and officially say that when they don't actually admit it? Especially when both parts of the partnership are actively saying we're not closed off. Jeremiah especially was actively saying they are not closed off and he was not ready. Okay, so they were not closed off and you expected to be treated as if you were closed off. Now, obviously, I do find the relationship and the dynamic between Shelly and Chris to be incredibly different because they met in Casa Amor and they only had a few days of actually being in a partnership. But I do think that Huda, we need to be very careful because you did expect that from other people. So this is from Shelly. It says, you're not a girl's girl. Practice what you preach. You want respect, but don't give it. Okay. So Huda's like, why would you say that, Shelly? Like, what is this all about? Shelly's like, oh my God. So you keep claiming when it comes to Chris that you brought him here for me, but in reality, you actually brought him here for yourself. Huda's like, yeah, of course I did. Of course I brought him here for myself. Like, and you know what? I had to side with Huda on this one because I am so sorry. But in what planet, Shelly, do you believe that Huda owed it to you when you also have another open connection for her to not explore Chris? We did not see, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we did not see this original conversation where Shelly keeps referencing it saying, well, she said she brought him here for me. She said she brought him here for me. I don't know if that is true, but Huda is allowed to play the game, y'all. Y'all kept her here, but then expect that she's supposed to do your dirty work to boost y'all up, and that's not right or fair. So I understood Huda when she was like, I like him. I want to explore him. And yes, part of the reason I brought him here is because you had a connection with him, but I also brought him here because I wanted to explore him. Shelly's like, honestly, you should have just been honest about it being for you. And again, Shelly, I'm sorry, the entitlement. The entitlement. Why in the world would you think that Huda would bring somebody back, not try to at least explore it, even if it was initially a friendship couple? What was Huda supposed to do? Bring Chris back and just be single and go home, essentially? Like, what did you think she was supposed to do? Okay. So Huda is like, look, I told Chris to continue on with the partnership with Shelly. I did continue to tell him, hey, you can explore her. You should explore her. Chris does verify that happened. Alandrea chimes in and is like, so why don't you tell the class though, Huda, what you did? Why don't you tell the class though about everything that happened? Did not like it. Didn't like that attitude at all. At all. Because number one, Alandrea, you weren't in it. Number two, she told something to you. Number three, you're doing this just to be snarky. And again, the whole, we're gonna gang up on one person as a unit of three. Olandria, Shelly, Sierra, not feeling it. Y'all are too damn beautiful to be acting in this way. I don't like it. And I cannot believe I'm defending Huda right now. But I don't like it because y'all kept her in the villa. And Alandrea is like, so you told us that you kissed him in the speakeasy. And Huda's like, the fuck, Alandrea? I told that to you. I told that to you, and it's not your place to tell it to everybody else. And Chris is like, that's mad effed up, because I also have not spoken with anybody yet about that whole thing. So the fact that you decided you were going to share that with everyone is not fair. Alandrea's like, well, it's out there now. And I'm like, I don't like it. I did not like the attitude and the demeanor that the girls were displaying. Especially because these girls are so beautiful. And I'm like, why would you guys have to be this way? Basically, Huda's like, I can kiss somebody that I'm interested in. I can kiss somebody that I like. Why is it wrong for me to do that? And again, now the girls are flip-flopping, and it's like, how dare you do this to Shelly when she's exploring with Chris? First, it's how dare you do this to Ace, then it's how dare you do this to Chris. Girl, you can't own every man in the villa. And being that Chris and Huda are paired up, they are allowed to explore Shelly and Alandrea and Sierra. I don't like the mean girl stuff. I don't like the mean girl stuff because I feel like this is very unfair. Is Huda crazy? Does Huda be crashing out? She does. But in this situation, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Because at the end of the day, you're in between two people. And let's be honest, Shelly, you're not even talking to Chris. You're not even talking to him like that. You've ignored him. He's even admitted that you've ignored him. So what is the problem? What is the problem here? Y'all are making a problem to be mean. And I just, yeah, I don't mess with that. So Chris is next. Chris basically gets from Sierra, are your intentions with Huda genuine? He says that he really likes her and he has told everyone that, meaning the guys. The guys do verify that that is true. Now, someone else said, you just want a spot in the villa. It's crazy how fast your mind has changed. So he says, once again, my plan was to be with Shelly originally, but there was interest in Huda from the beginning. So Sierra's like, well, say it more then, because the reality is we don't see that. Again, Sierra, pipe down. I'm so sorry, but please. So Shelly says, the switch up is insane. If you just wanted to come to the villa, you could have said that. He's like, I could give a F less about being in the villa. I could be overseas playing ball. I don't need to be here. And again, I'm so sorry, but what are we talking about, Shelly? Because you don't even talk to that man. And let's be for real, girl, you can't lock down and claim two men at once. If you're in the middle of a connection, then he's allowed to also be in the middle of a connection. Again, these girls are making up their own rules that only apply to them when it's beneficial, and that is annoying. So next up, we have Alandrea. Hers is from Clark, and she says, look, my connection with Taylor is more than physical. Alandrea's like, okay, cool. Clark is like, look, I hated that you continue to call me and Taylor's relationship a test. I feel like it is way more than a test and we actually have something there. So Alandrea is like, look, honestly, first off, I appreciate you for signing the note. You stood on business, so I appreciate that. She says, second of all, I've called everyone that walked into the villa a test. Anyone that's come on here to step on toes, I've said that. It's not just directed to you. Alandrea, miss me with it, girl, because maybe that's true. I have not seen it. Miss me with it. No, absolutely not. Last but not least, the grand finale, Taylor. And baby, Taylor comes out of that mailbox with a stack of postcards.
After for Sierra, I could have left you vulnerable.
She gave you 5 minutes of conversation. That was enough for you to stand up.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
I'll let you speak.
You said a whole bunch of bullshit, but go ahead.
It's my experience too.
Taylor's first card says, you and Alandrea had such a strong connection. How did it change so quickly? So Taylor tries to explain, hey, you know, when I met Clark, I got a new feeling that I didn't get with Alandrea. She gave me like, you know, that feeling when you're a kid and you feel just really happy, really giddy. Alandrea's like, how old are you? He's like 25. And I'm like, girl, pipe down and grow up. Like, I don't mean to be real. Grow up. The man didn't like you. And you're taking it out on everything and everyone. Just be real. We've all been here where we want to write a dissertation about why a man doesn't like us. He didn't like you, girl. And that is hard to hear. For those of y'all who keep saying, oh, Alandria's beyond average. She doesn't have the problems you have as an average dark-skinned girl. I don't know, y'all for some reason thought you would build up Alandria by insulting my looks in the comments, which is crazy work, but whatever. As I said, married, not looking for a man on this show. We are seeing a classic example of what a lot of women of our caliber experience. And I feel very bad for Alandria. She's very angry. She's been holding a lot in. But I think the attitude is very unnecessary. The attitude for Clark, the attitude, the only thing that I believe Alandria has grounds for is the fact that Taylor should have been more direct. That I will 100% stand through, that he should have from the beginning said his piece and made it clear that the door was closed. That is it. The rest of this I don't agree with it. So Huda basically chimes in and is like, I don't understand how that is the case though, because you got to know her for 3 weeks. So I don't understand how you could just jump so fast. Taylor's like, yes, I got to know her for 3 weeks. The unspoken thing he didn't say is, I got to know her for 3 weeks and I wasn't feeling her like that. But he said, yes, I got to know her for 3 weeks. Can I get to know somebody else? So Alandria is like, stop. So she sends a postcard and she says, stand on business and stop acting like a little bee. I'm like, here we go again, calling men bees. What are we doing, Alandria? Why are you stooping down to this level and calling this man a bee? Why? Why? There is no reason. There is no reason to be calling this man a bee. I know that internalized anger hurts, but the reality is Taylor's not in the wrong for not liking you. Taylor's in the wrong for being a bad communicator. He's not in the wrong for not liking you. So they keep on going. Alandria is like, look, Clark, just so you know, he was telling both of us that he wanted to explore the connections. So Clark's like, I know, I understand. Alandria's like, I am so effing tired of this. Every single day I have sat here, I've held everything in, I've taken things on the chin, I've been dumped left and right, and yet you can't even be honest with me or be upfront with me. I am so tired of this. Every single day when Jalen was here, I reassured you. And I was like, Alandria, again, this is where we need to stop. Because the reality is, you put yourself in that position though. Taylor never once, when Jalen was here, told you not to explore Jalen. You yourself felt so confident that you had your Southern cowboy locked in that you decided that you were not going to explore or pursue Jalen. That was not Taylor. So basically Taylor's like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. You are acting as if I was supposed to play this game for you. This is an individual experience, and I was doing this experience for me. You cannot be upset that I didn't make the decision that you wanted for you. I had to make the decision right for me. And you know what? I was here for it. Because as Huda brought up and as Taylor brought up, these girls are expecting that everyone else around this villa is supposed to run around and do what they want for them. And I respect and understand that that is not the case. Like I said, zero problems with Taylor wanting to explore Clark. I have no problems with that. And Taylor is right that he should go for the connection that he actually feels a connection with. What would have been the purpose of choosing Alandria if he was not feeling her on that level? Again, I'm gonna put a little on Taylor though, because Taylor, that's where you wake up and you be honest and say, I don't feel it there with you, Alandria. I don't think this is going to be something. So at this point, everybody's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Alandria crashing out. She's yelling. She's loud. She's mad. Okay. Finally, they get to a point where basically it's like, I think he gets one postcard and it says, it's from Anon, and it's like, make up your mind, Taylor, basically. And he's like, you know what? Y'all want me to make up my mind? My choice is Clark. And I was like, ooh, Ooh, baby. A lot, it was just so much. And again, I felt so bad for Alandrea to some level on the I relate to you as a dark-skinned woman level. Because again, she was like, I asked you day in and day out, what more do you need from this connection? What more do you want? And it's like, that's where Alandrea, you realize it wasn't there. If a man can stop talking to you in 2 days and he's on to someone else, he didn't like you. He never liked you. You asked him what more? The reality is he was looking for something completely different. There was nothing more you could have done. But baby, my camera is about to die, so if you made it to this point of the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, and I will talk to you guys in my next one.